Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Here in South Africa, in Black Rhino, the kosher safari tours, unbelievable. Donnie and Gili Levy, Tomer Levy's brothers. It's beautiful, beautiful here. Here I am on the deck. Right over here is a water hole. Occasionally animals come by. Now, I thought it was like a reverse mythos that in the other place in Medikwe, there were animals all day long, 20 elephants here, 10 elephants, then buffalo and rhino and occasional cats, lions. Give the shear, nothing, zero. And then I realized perhaps they are intimidated by my voice because I was here earlier and there's some animals, and as soon as they saw me, they ran off. So who knows? Rabbi Isai, we're going to try to do it as quick as possible. Yesterday we had a longer shir and it took 8 hours to upload with a lot of agmas nefesh. Try to do it a little quicker. One email and we'll jump into it. And it's in Hebrew from Katriel Kanturovitz. I'm just going to translate. The subject is, I just want to tell you that I love you. Rebelli, it's already more than a year that I'm learning the daf with you. Besides the records that I achieved, learning 8 mesechtes in your zchus, the first one of those 8 you gave me to do the siyum at the siyum in front of the whole tzibur. I came to a new record. The first time in my life, I had a true tsar that I couldn't learn Torah on Tisha B'Av. If there's no animals, at least we hear some beautiful birds. And this tsar is also in your zchus. So, I thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for every day that you have the strength to get up and teach us. And I thank your family that enables the Yeshiva Das to give yourself over to the shir. This that you said on Motzei Shabbos, this is, in my opinion, the entire Torah on one foot. If we will erase all these ideas of different categories and different edot, how do you say edot in English? Different groups of people, and we'll stop to catalog them. There's no Sfardim, Ashkenazim, Chasidim, and we'll learn to love everybody. So then, therefore, next year, Be'ez Hashem, there won't be a Tisha B'Av. There'll be a Beis Hamikdash. Ohev otcha, u'ma'aritz otcha, u'ma'arich, Katriel Kanturov. It's beautiful, Yishkoyach. Rabbi Isai, we're going to jump right into it, but before we do that, we have to realize that it's only, I believe, 2 days until the next volume of Art Scroll. So Rabbi Isai, please bring your friends, tell them and describe to them the beauty of Masechtas Kesubos, how geschmack every day is. It's a beautiful Masechta. In addition, Reb Fischel from Official Catering told me a while ago, and I keep on pushing it off. He told me, and I hope I got this clear. I know he said this, but I hope we could do this. He said that every single person who received a free Gemara and learned every single daf of that Gemara, he's giving them a new free Gemara, Volume 2, Masechtas Kesubos, Volume 2. So please let us know who you are. Please bring a friend. Every Yid, look, whoever brought Katriel Kanturovitz, changed his life. 8 mesechtes later, you could do the same thing. You know that you have a friend out there that's not learning as much as he needs to learn. Give him that push. And Be'ez Hashem, you'll see tremendous things. The parnas of the koilel is zchus all the new people that joined. The second parnas of koilel is Avi and Rachel Kamiansky in memory of Rachel's mother, Rezegitl Bas Esther, Rita should be Militzi Shara on our behalf and our children's behalf. The Masechta. Leading Nishmas, I heard that because the Hebrew goes backwards over here. I forgot what the guy said. He said on the screen it looks different. Our Moshe ben Baruch Yosef, or Baruch Yosef ben Our Moshe, I don't know. And Shalom Nata ben Elazar Moshe. And hatzlacha b'chol anyonim for my children. The second sponsor of the Masechta, Jeff Rosner, and zchus my son, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Sara Chana Refuah Shlaima. By the Lock and Lebovic family is Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah is best gula. That's the Paras HaChodesh. Paras HaChodesh number 2, Shragi Chafetz RL149 is zchus for my family, myself, and for the Tzaddikim of RL Hatzalah. Paras HaChodesh number 3, Moshe ben Zechariah. Lili Nishmas Moshe ben Zechariah. Maybe that's what they said, Zechariah ben Moshe? Nah. Paras HaChodesh number 4, Benjy Estie Israel Family, memory of our Zayde Moshe Menora and 3 cousins, Sara Klein, Ricki Racheli Menora. On the 12th year that the Neshama should all have an aliyah. Paras HaChodesh number 5, Dr. Avrum Epstein. In memory, I'm not gonna choke up now. In memory of my precious Southern Belle wife, I gotta move this away, sorry. And grandmother, Rita Gay Epstein. Paras HaChodesh number 6, Michael Bamela, Motty Perl Aaron Hirsch. Aaron Hirsch, the famous Aaron Hirsch from Lakewood, to be zayde to make it to Uman Rosh this year. Paras HaShavua for Shidduch for Talia Esther Basivia. And the last day of today's turning of the Daf, Yankel Cohen, the official MDY MSP, will get there, Beis Hashem, when we turn to Daf Mem. Today's Daf Mem, we're all the way on the bottom of Amud Beis, last line. Oynes, Shoysev Atzitzo, we have to start moving here. The Mishnah described the difference between an Oynes and a Mefata. Oynes drinks out of his own bowl, his own dirty water. He made a mess. He was ma'anis a woman. He has to marry her, but a Mefata is not mechuyev to marry her. Let's see, I forgot to turn this on, but we'll do it right now, and it's probably not going to work anyways, but we'll do it for Yosef's sake. Ask the Gemara. So now for this, we go to chart number 1. Here we go. And we had this chart a number of times. We know there's a famous Gzeir Shava between Oynes and Mefata. We have a Gzeir Shava between Oynes and Mefata. And that Gzeir Shava we learned that it says by one Kesef Yishkol, we know it's shekel, but we don't know how many. By Oynes it says Chamishim Kesef, but we don't know if it's shekel. So we combine the two, Chamishim shekel. So since we learn one from the other, so too, we shall learn the concept that you must marry your veloisi isha. Maybe we have a chart. Yeah. Chart number 2. Veloisi isha, chiyuv to marry the woman you violated. So too, you have a chiyuv to marry the woman you seduced. No, there's a special miyut that he has the ability to decide whether or not he should marry her. Loi midaitoi, with his will. What does this mean exactly? Ask the Gemara. Here it is, chart number 2. In front of you, you have an assay. The man must marry the woman. It's an assay. It's a positive commandment. On the flip side, it says in the Mishnah that if she's a mamzeres, he does not marry her. Why not? Essa is always doicha loisasa. Essa pushes off. Essa, if you have one against the other, like on the chart, you have the loisasa of marrying a mamzeres, loyove mamzer b'kal Hashem, or any other one of the isurim to marry. The assay, the positive, you should marry her, should push off the fact that she's a mamzeres. Omar Li, so he answered me when I said over. Rav Kana says when I said this over to Rav Zvid, Rav Zvid told me, "Hey, where's the classic example? If a kid, if a baby has a tzaras, and you're not allowed to cut off a tzaras, and the tzaras is on his milah, the halacha is that the mitzvah of milah pushes off the loisase of cutting the tzaras. So it's that assay pushes off the loisase, or a similar case to that. The loyev say there's no other way to be mekayim the mitzvah of bris milah aval hacham omra d'lo be'ina. But over here, since she could say, I don't want to marry him, mi isil asay klal, the whole assay goes away. So according to Rashi, we teach her to say, I don't want to marry you, and therefore the assay of marrying doesn't push off the loisas of mamzer. And what if she doesn't want? What if she really likes the guy? So according to Rashi, Enochanami, he would marry a mamzeres, big chiddush. But other Rishonim say no. The whole concept falls apart. Since it's so weak, since she could deny it, it's like the baby saying, I don't want to have a bris milah, and he doesn't have to have a bris milah. So it's a very weak mitzvah. Bris Milah, obviously, the baby can't say that, so it's a very strong mitzvah. But over here, since she could say and deny the fact that she wants to be married to this guy, so it's a very weak marriage, it's a very weak mitzvah, so therefore, even if she wants to marry him, he cannot marry her because it's a weak mitzvah, and that kind of mitzvah doesn't push off a license. That's how other Rishonim learn. Says the official Mishnah, sponsored by Moshe Cohen for hatzlacha with Limud Torah and Parnasa. Please excuse me, I'm drinking directly from the bottle, and I already made a bracha. Yisoyma shenisarso v'nisgarsha. So Rashi says we're going to see in the Gemara that this is actually two different cases. A Yisoyma, in other words, her father doesn't have control over her anymore. She is Yisoyma. She gets the knas. Typically, who gets the knas? The father. But over here, she gets the knas. So she gets the knas. She has the full power over it. And since she agreed to marry this guy, so the Gra on the side says over here that this is a continuation of the other mission that says these are the differences between Oynes and Mefata. So here you have another example. Since she was Nisratza, she agreed to it, and it goes to her, so she doesn't get a knas. Here's the difference between Oynes and a Mefata. This is very important to remember. It says Rabbi Yochanan, who's Rebbe Elazar ben Shamua's Rebbe? Rebbe Akiva. So he's going in the Shita, and we said the Shita earlier, that Naira Shenis Arso Vinis Garsha, if you have a Nahara, a girl who's 12, and she has Simonim, and she got engaged, the Gemara type of engagement with a ring, the whole thing, she became Eshes Ish, and she broke that engagement with a get. So, Yesh lo knas uknos la'atzma. Rebbe Akiva says, yes, it says in the pasuk that she is lo yarusa, but what changes is that she herself gets the knas, not the father. The Omar yesh lo knas uknos la'atzma. So Rishonim say over here that you're right, she gets the knas, but the other payments of boishes and begam, that the father gets to keep. Says the Gemara, how do we know? How do we learn this? Midiktani Yisoyma. You're talking about an orphan. So the Gemara is medayik. Yisoyma pshita. If she's a true orphan, she doesn't have a father, then of course there's no knas. She agreed to be with this guy. Why should he have to pay her? The Narish and the Saras, we're not talking about a real Yisoyma. What we're talking about is a Yisoyma b'chaye yoav. She has a father, but she got engaged and she got divorced. So now she's like an orphan in her father's lifetime. And nevertheless, her father's around. Still, there's no knas. The Narish and the Saras is Yisoyma. Ma Yisoyma la'atzma. Just like the Yisoyma herself gets the knas for herself. So too, if she was 12 years old and she got engaged and she got divorced, la'atzma, the knas goes to herself and not to her father. Omer Reb Zera, Omer Rabba Bar Shilo, Omer Rabba Nusaba, Omer Rav Ada Bar Ahava, Omer Rav. They all said this in a big train. In the name of Rav, hatzlacha Rebbe Elazar. Hatzlacha Rebbe Elazar, that even if she has a father, she got divorced, she gets to keep. There's no knas at all because she makes decisions, not her father. Kari Rav Alei, the Rebbe Elazar. Rav said about this Rebbe Elazar, Toiviyona dechakime. You are, let's see Rashi. Toiviyona, I thought meant the best of, but it's praiseworthy. Says Rashi, let's see inside. Toiviyona dechakime. Mu'ushar shebechachamim. Like the word Ashrei. Mitargimim tuvai. The Ashrei. In other words, Rebbe Elazar, who Rebbe Elazar ben Shammua, says Rashi. The Talmidish Rebbe Akiva, he was one of the 5 Talmidim Kedarim B'Yevamis, Ba'abal Yevim, Toy Daf Tzadik Beis, V'Hoya Olam Shomim. We know the terrible tragedy, 24,000 Talmidim, we can't even fathom it, died during Sfira. And the world was desolate. At Shabbat Rebbe Akiva, Eitzer Rabbi Seinu Shebedaraim, So Rabbi Akiva came and he gave over the Torah. Ushna lahem Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yochai, Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua. Says Rabbi Yochanan, says Rav, it's beautiful. Now we see, oy vey. I hope my phone is, I forgot to turn my phone off. I hope nobody calls in the middle. If they do, we're going to have to stop and go, okay. It's not live, so it's not the end of the world. Okay. Says Rav that Rabbi Elazar took what Rabbi Akiva said and he gave the pshat to it. He explained what the pshat is. He didn't just say hatzlacha. The Rishonim explained this. Rashba. So you see here, you saw that when you say hatzlacha, you don't just say mutter, asur. He explained why. He explained the reasoning behind it. And therefore, you see that the Torah Baruch Hashem says, Rabbi Akiva gave it over to the 5 Talmidim, but we see that we're going to have a Torah. It's going to continue. Ashrei, praiseworthy. It's gewaldig. It's going to continue. Says the Mishnah, the official Mishnah sponsored by Moshe Cohen for hatzlacha with limud Torah and parnasa. Ezu boishes. Now we're going to go into the other things as well, and we discussed it. We already know what it is, but it based on this Mishnah, and it's kedai to do chazara. What exactly are we giving for humility? What is the humility, and how do we do it? Ezu boishes akol lefi mevayish v'amizbayish. It's all dependent on the one inflicting the humility and the one receiving the humility. Says Rashi an amazing, amazing thing. Says Rashi that we're talking about an in-between person, a Beinoni. Because if he's a real low kind of guy, then first, if she's very low, she doesn't have that much busha. If he's very low, guy, schnar in the street, a loser, that gave us that. No. But Rashi over here said a chiddush that I would never understand by myself. When it's a great, great person, it's also nothing. Imagine Rabbi Ovadia Yosef slaps you in the face, like he used to do. So I'm not saying that was a busha. A better example. I was by Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and a person that I was with, and I said this myself a few times, I was making a guy about tshuva, and he had a ring on his finger, and I asked him if he could take pictures of me and Reb Chaim, and Reb Chaim says, I don't want pictures from a woman. And his grandson said, what do you mean? Why not? He made a whole joke out of it. He said, no picture from a woman. So the guy was very insulted. He understood what he said. He asked me, and I explained to him. I shouldn't have explained. And basically, because he has a ring, he called him a woman, so he's mevuyish. Because Chaim Kanievsky, perhaps the bush is not that great. Over here, you see it. It's nachadaiti a little bit. Rashi says, the greater the person is, the less bush it is. Okay? At the end of the day, if we're going to talk about Reb Chaim Kanievsky, if somebody does give you busha, then it's the greatest thing in the world. Then you take that busha and you say tefillah with it, Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, and you zaychet the tremendous things. You don't answer the person back. You take it and you say, zchus, that I'm not answering, I should have this and this hatzlacha. Baruch Hashem, I zaychet to busha all the time. Anytime I make a mistake in the Gemara, the biggest busha in the world. But as I mentioned yesterday, tremendous Sara Chaim in Parashas Vayeshev, that Shimon and Levi, when they took revenge and they took all the money from Shechem ben Chamar, they took all the rechush. That was because they held that the busha that Dinah had was so great because of who she was and her status in society and who her father was, that all that money didn't even equal to the busha that they caused. The gam, what does it mean, depreciation? Like a slave on the slave market. How much is she worth before she was violated? How much after? The Gemara is going to explain. Knas. And finally, what is a knas? Everybody has to pay 50 regardless of the status. Anytime there's a limit, like Erichin, where the Torah says 20 and 5 and this, or we're going to have soon the 30 of an Eved, the 5 of a Pinyan Ben. Anytime there's a kitzvah, there's a certain amount, shav b'chaladim. You can't say, oh, this baby, he's the son of a rebbe, so the kayan, you have to give 100 shekel. No, every kid is 5 shekel. By the way, just a riddle. What davening is answered on the spot. Every time you daven for it, you get the answer on the spot. The answer is, if a chazan gets up there and says, Chaim sheyesh b'hem busha chlima, instead of ein b'hem busha chlima, he says yesh b'hem busha chlima. And there were stories like that people did that mistake, and it's a tremendous busha on the spot, and the tefillah is answered right away. Says the Gemara. Who told you that in addition to the 50 that this girl gets, she's also entitled to boishes abgam? What if a person violated the daughter of a king? It's 50. And if he violated the daughter of the farmer, chamishim, it should be the same amount. Impossible. Oh, you're going with such logic. The Eved who was killed by a shar hamuad, the amount is 30 shekel. So you're going to say, Eved Naikiv Magalias. A slave who makes holes in pearls. Margolis is a pearl, not so much a diamond, but a pearl. If he makes 30 shekel a day, this guy, he's making crazy amount of money. So you kill that guy, you're going to only pay 30 shekel. And a simple slave that's worthless, all he does is, he's a tailor. So they're going to have the same amount? Obviously not. So you see, it doesn't go by your logic. The Torah says 30, it's 30 for everybody. So 2 over here. Mechetes. Says the Gemara, Eved Oisel, we're turning to the Daf Amud Beis, Ma'aseh Machat Shloishim. Another svara. If 2 people violated this one poor woman, so the language is reversed over here. If first, Taisa says it doesn't matter, that first somebody violated her unnatural way, but unnatural way she remains a psula. So the second guy that violates her, he's chayav a knas. She's still considered a psula. The Yerushalmi says that in such a case, the 2 people violate her, one kedarka, one shaloi kedarka, because if both of them are kedarka, the second guy doesn't have to marry her. V'lo yisi elisha doesn't apply to him. But the Yerushalmi says in this case, v'lo yisi elisha applies to him. To both. They both have to marry her. So who marries her? The one that she decides, obviously. Says the Gemara. So he says the svara like this. If a guy violated a woman who's never with anybody, it's 50. So what? This guy who's boil her after somebody else was boil her, she's already damaged good, so to speak. He has to pay the same chamishim. So obviously you see that it's minatoira chamishim, and in addition to that, you have to pay the boishes b'gam. Say the same svara by a slave. What? He's a disgusting looking guy, so it's 30. Why do you pay the 50? Because he violated her. Hani, the 50 that you pay is tachas hashe'ina. Those 50 are for the violation. Boishes Ubgam has nothing to do with being violated. Boishes Ubgam you pay even if you punch somebody in the face. Nothing to do with the violation. This woman was violated, that's why you pay her 50. So the 50 is on one side. The Boishes Ubgam have nothing to do, it's for something else. Rav Amar, I'll tell you another svara, Amar Krov, and Osana Isha Sheichevim Ala Avianara Chamishim Kosev. Hanoas Shchiba Chamishim. Because it says in the pasuk that you give the father to the father of the Shoichevima. It's for the Hana, the enjoyment that this guy had. The 50 is for the Hana. Michlal, but in addition to that, you also have to pay for the depreciation and the humility. But where in the Torah does it say that the Boishes B'gam goes to the father? Maybe the Knas goes to the father like the Torah says, but the Boishes B'gam goes to her. Omar Kro ben Nurel Beisovia. This is a famous Gemara. Called Shvach Nurel Ovia. Every kind of benefit that this young girl has goes directly to the father. How do you know that when a young girl works, the salary goes to the father? Father has the ability to sell his daughter as a shivcha, as a amma. And therefore, you see from this pasuk that just like if he has the right to sell her as a shivcha, and as an amma, and the amma, she's a Jewish slave, everything she does and makes goes to her master. So if the father has the ability to sell her off to somebody else, so certainly he has the ability to take him for himself. Hello, says Gemara. Says Gemara, Lomali. So, but why do I need this drasha? I just said the drasha before. Ben Rabbi Savia, everything goes to the father. So you have to say, Rabbi Savia is talking about that if the girl made a neder, she said, I'm not going to benefit from this, I'm not going to do that, then the father has the ability to annul the neder. And if you'll say, let's learn this idea of boishes and begam from the darim. If the father has the ability to be made for neder, the father should take boishes. No, there's two different things. You can't do a binyanav. You can't say I'm going to learn this from this. One is nidarim, that's isurim, and one is monetary issues. Monetary you don't learn from isur. Just like the father gets the 50 shekel knas, so you should also get the boishes, the depreciation, and the humility. Again, the same idea. You don't learn monetary halachas from knas halachas. So why do we say that the boishes goes to the father? The father could marry her, take money, kedushin, and allow this menuvel umukashchin, this terrible-looking person, to be kind to her, says Rashi, bibia. He could trade his daughter's bia for money to menuvel umukashchin, depreciate her, humiliate her for money. He has that ability. So if he has that ability, so certainly when somebody else humiliates her and depreciates her, it should go to the father. Says the Gemara, Bgam, how do we do Bgam? Depreciation. How do you evaluate a Jewish girl? How much is a person, is he willing to pay? If he goes to the marketplace, there's two women, one is a be'ula, one is a besula. How much is he willing to pay the difference? Says Gemara, shivcha be'ula shamshoy. If she's just a maid doing housework, what does he care if she's a be'ula or a besula? Elo bein shivcha be'ula shivcha she'ena be'ula lahasil la'avdoi. Nafkemina, because he wants to marry her off to his slave. Says Taisvus, by the way, he says, stop. You don't take a Jewish daughter of a Rosh Hashiva and say that whatever a slave in the marketplace, a slave costs $1,000, and if she's a psula, she costs $1,100. So the $100 difference, that's what you have to give this. No, she's the daughter of a Shiva. What's the connection to the slave? We just see this idea that there's a way to shots up and evaluate a woman. Says the Gemara. So what do we do here? He has a slave. But why are you buying a shivcha for your slave? Because you want them to have more slaves and you'll become wealthier. So then what's the difference if she's a be'ula or a besula? There's no difference to you. Says Gemara, sometimes a master he appreciates his slave. He's not doing it to have offspring. and more slaves, he's doing it to give his slave a gift. And the slave will appreciate more when that gift is a psula rather than a ba'ula. And therefore, there's a difference in the marketplace. So first of all, I just want to say real quickly, we are also slaves. We are avadim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you see over here, there's such a concept that the master sometimes wants to gift the slave. If we give him a keres ruach, if we give HaKadosh Baruch Hu nachas, then it's only natural for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give back to us. You see this in the Gemara over here. But we have to give him keres ruach, we have to give him nachas. Another thing, my chavrusa pointed out to me, he said that he knows a man who one of his employees worked really, really well for him, and he gifted him a brand new, almost $1 million home. And he's talking about me. It's true. One time, this guy did tremendous stuff for me, and I was very appreciative. And I just built a brand new home to sell, and I said, you know what? Let me just give him the home. And the guy lives there, Adi Avazeh, and there's such a thing. I'm not saying Chas v'Shalom, he's not a slave, Chas v'Shalom, and he's very, very far from that. Very good friend of mine, but there's such a thing that a master gives matana or a boss could give him matana to an employee or to whatever. Okay, says the Mishnah. Again, we are doing the official Mishnah sponsored by Moshe Cohen for hatzlacha with Limud Torah and Parnasa. Oh, look what's behind me. A rhinoceros. Unreal. Rabbi Sai, a rhinoceros! Wow. I don't want to scare him because he's going to run away. He's staring at me now. Unreal. Let's go see. Say Shalom Aleichem to the rhinoceros. This is completely in the wild. Rabbi Sai, in the wild, in Africa, a rhinoceros from all animals showed up here. Okay. He's saying hello. They have very poor eyesight. And this particular rhinoceros, the horn is cut off. That horn that's cut off, I think is worth somewhere in the vicinity of $1 million. And they don't want the poachers to come in here. They come in with helicopters. And they just they shoot the rhinoceros and kill it and take the horn. So the park decided on its own to cut off the horn. And I'm going to walk away from it so that it could drink. Maybe we'll be able to see it drink. Here we go. Wow. So on the final day, maybe the final day, something chashav like a rhinoceros came. And wow, what a chashivas. That is chashav. Rabbi Isai, it was all worth it. Better than all the other animals that I've seen here. Okay. Unreal. Okay. Thank you, Hashem. No, this is part of Torah. Marabu Masecha Hashem. This unbelievable creature. It defends itself. It's massive. It's all it eats is vegetation, and it weighs tons. Unbelievable. Okay, let's continue learning here, while you guys enjoy the rhinoceros in the background. I'm going to do this for Yosef. Okay, thank you. I'm very grateful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I thought like the mom is scared. Here he is drinking away. Zokt, where are we? Fine. The Eved, you see, we're just talking about Eved, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has koiras ruach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent a little tap on the shoulder. Eli, I'm happy that you're learning the safari. Let me send you a little gift. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you. Says the Mishnah. Kol mokom sheyesh mecher in knas. We had this already also. Any time that a father could sell off his daughter, there's no knas. V'chol mokom sheyesh knas in mecher. So let's see the chart. It says in the pasuk v'chiyimker ish es bitei la'ama. That's chart number 3. Chart number 4, as we know, and we had this chart many times, there's 3 stages in a girl's life: Ketana, Nara, and Bogeres. A father could sell off his daughter as a amma when she is 3 to 12. or no longer by a begeres. So let's see. Kol mogim sheyesh lo mecher ein knas. Kol mogim sheyesh knas ein mecher. Ktano yesh lo mecher ve'ein lo knas. He could sell her when she's a ktano, but there's no knas. Naro yesh lo knas ve'ein lo mecher. But when she is in the red stage, she's between 12 and 12 and a half, he cannot sell her, but there is a knas if somebody violates her. Habegeres, but when she's 12 and a half, ein lo loy mecher ve'lo knas is neither. Omer Rav Yidom Rav, Zudi Meir. That's only Meir. Chachamim say that when he could sell her, when she's a ktana, there's still a knas. The sanyo ktana when she's a ktana until she's 12 years old, yishlo mecher. There is mecher. Ve'in lo knas. That's Meir Shita. Mishatovish teisaris v'achitiboga yishlo knas ve'in lo mecher. There Meir. That's what we had in the Mishnah. Sha'er Meir komokoim. Sheyesh mecher ein knas. Chomogim sheyesh knas ein mecher. Chachamim, here's the chachamim. Ktano mibashol yishor mimechod, from 3 years old in one day. V'ach diboger, until she becomes older. Yesh lo knas. She has a knas. Knas in mecher loy. I mean, it says in the Torah. Let's go back to the chart. What do you mean? No. Chacham are only talking to her mayor. They're saying, you're saying there's no knas. We're saying there is a knas. But of course, he could sell her. What's the logic here? That she decides. When she decides. Omar kro naro afilu ktana b'mashma. So we're going to have to explain now. If you look at the pasuk Chavtez, it says v'nasan ha'isha shochev imo. This is chart 5. La'avi ha'naro. Now look how it's written without a hey at the end. Chamishim kesef, and it says by Moisi Shemra v'anshu oisem meo kesef v'nasan la'avi ha'naro. Naro is spelled with a hey at the end. So why over here is it spelled without a hey? Says the Gemara, Rish Lakish says, because it's telling us it's even less than a naro. A naro typically is 12 and on. But since it's missing the hay, it's even less than that. That's how I understand it. Shomer Rav Papa read of Chanan, Mibei, Kloiches, Rav Papa heard this. Ozal Amor Kamid Rav Shimi, Barashi. Omle Aton, Ahom Asnisulah. The lighting is very bad here, so if I'm not reading it correctly, so you could correct me, I'm not seeing 100% well. You learn it over here. We learned the same exact thing, but somewhere else. If he says about his wife, who's a ktana, that she's mizana when they're engaged, potter, he doesn't have to pay this. This Meir Kesef doesn't have to pay. Why? With a hey. It's only when she has a hey, when she's 12 years old. What? If the Torah didn't say naro, I would think even a ktano voksiv. You kill this naro, you kill her. Now, how in the world can you kill a ktana? Obviously, she's a g'dayla. So then why does the Torah say naro? Naro. You're right. The Torah is saying over here, she's already 12. She's already with the hay. Naro spelled with the hay, she's already 12. But any other place in the Torah where it says naro without a, like in chart number 5, la via naro, afilu ktana b'mashma, and that means, according to Chachamim, that there's a knas. What is he doing exactly? I don't know. He's listening to the daf. He's not even drinking anymore. Okay. And we're going to go check him out in a second. That's how they learn. That's even Ktano. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. And now, another minute of rhinoceros in the wild by Shkia. Mamish, as the shir finished, he decided to move on with his life. You guys see? Yo, come. There's a rhinoceros. Oh, he's leaving. He's not holding on for you. He's going to eat a little bit. He had a shtickle drink. Rabbi, have a wonderful day. Menora nifleis Hashem.